Today, we are here to discuss a few aspects and understand how values and ethics can change our lives, or I shall put it this way, like how it can help us become better human beings. If we talk about the introduction of this chapter, the first thing that I should mention here would be this entire era, this time can be defined as the decade of 3 E's, the 3 most important words that begins with E, and that has made all the difference in the last 50 years after independence. The first would be economy. If we talk about India's economy in the last 50 years, that has had a huge change, that has had a huge impact on all of us, and we all are benefited through different times and schemes that has come our way. The economy of a mostly agricultural country like India has seen a dramatic change in the last 50 years, which contributes to the growth of Indian economy and which has a major change in our lifestyles as well. The second E that we can talk about would be the environment. As I had begun, India is a developing country. It is been developing in the last 100 years, and we can expect many such developments coming up in the next 100 years. Out of which, the biggest problem that we have faced is the depletion of natural resources in this country. India used to be a country with a very rich and varied sources of natural resources in the country, with a rich content of it, but now as we are overusing them, as we are exploiting them, we are probably coming to almost nil. Now, the environment, just like economy, has seen a boom in the industry in the last 50 years, but this boon has again become a curse to all of us. This boon has not remained a boon for us forever. The reason is we have overexploited the natural resources that we had, and not only that, the overusage of natural resources has not led to satisfactory results. What it could have done is not been done. So, I would rather term it as an exploitation of natural resources, and that is exactly what has happened in India, specifically in the last 50 years. Now, after this, there is another point which we can never ignore, would be ethics, the ethical part of it. Well, surprisingly, India is known for its culture, traditions, customs across the globe till date. And at one time, we all Indians were extremely proud of our heritage. It is still there. We still feel for the people around us. We love our own culture, we love our own heritage, we love our own traditions and customs, and we follow that to quite an extent, I would say. But there has been a great deterioration in the last 2 decades probably. There has been a change in the mindset of students and youngsters. The youth of the country these days are not that involved as it used to be maybe 20 or 30 years before. Now, if these are the signs of the deterioration that is going to take place, then I would say the signs are alarming. And if we do not take any step right at the moment, then probably in the next 30 years or 50 years, India would not be known for its culture, tradition and customs anymore. Now, this decade of 3 E's, would ethics be a part of it? Yes, definitely it would be a part of it, because the ethical climate, the ethical environment that we have made around us is going to stay forever, and we all have to work towards uplifting it, towards taking it to a different level, towards making it better and for the betterment of general people. Now, after the decade of 3 E's, another important aspect of this topic, values and ethics, would be significance of studies of values and ethics. Now, whenever I teach my students, there is only one question that comes mostly to me in the beginning days, that, sir, why are we supposed to learn a subject like this? What is the importance of values and ethics to us as we are engineers or management students? What is the use of such a subject? Now, this is a very important question, I think, and this should be addressed. The significance, the importance of values and ethics for all professionals, be that an engineer or a doctor or anyone for that matter. Engineers specifically are the people who cater to the society. They are the people who serve the society both directly and indirectly. They are the people who are responsible for the upliftment of common man's life from different aspects. And the managers, if we consider the engineers at one hand, and then let us come to the other part, the managers, even they need ethics to be learned by heart, because they are the people who are responsible for controlling a group of people, for addressing a group of people, for controlling their work, their emotions, everything. So, if we have to improve the ethical climate of an organization, we need to consider on the ethical development of the managers or the engineers or the doctors. We all are equally responsible when it comes to values and ethics. Now, let us come to it point by point. How does the study of values and ethics help us? The first point that we should mention is it creates awareness. Values and ethics creates awareness among people about what should be done and what should not be done. Every individual who is working as a professional need to understand that there are certain do's and don'ts at the workplace. The study of values and ethics would actually tell you what exactly needs to be done and what are the things that we should be avoiding. So, it creates an awareness among the managers and the engineers and the top level management, and then it gets into the common mass, and everybody starts realizing the importance of values and ethics into their lives. The second point is high level of integrity. Well, I would always point it out this way, that a company is always known for the kind of integrity it upholds. A company or an organization which is primarily a profit making organization, well, there is a lot of debate that can be done on this part, if it is a profit making organization or a non-profit making organization. Well, let us not get into the details of that, but whenever it is an organization where there are certain people working together towards one targeted goal, towards one achievement that they all foresee, it is always we take it that it is some kind of a profit making organization. So, the ultimate idea of business is to make profit. We all know that, and probably that is one reason why people get into business, because they want to earn more. They want to earn for themselves and their families. But at the same time, this earning, the method of earning, cannot be unethical, and it is probably the top management or the owner whose ethical values kind of penetrates into the company, into the organization, and everybody working within that sphere would actually get into that vibe, and they somehow carry out the reflection of the top management or the other top management people or the manager or the owner. Their ethical conditioning is spread out into every single employee working within that organization. So, this feeling of integrity, this feeling of keeping the company intact in one go, being ethical, is somehow passed on to every employee working within that organization, and they all make an image of the company into the world, saying that we are this and we would always remain like this. If you think you can be a part of our company, of our organization, you're most welcome to come and join in. But if you think you cannot work with us this way, then I'm sorry to say we are not the right people for you to be with. So, this feeling of integrity, this feeling of togetherness, this feeling of feeling towards the society, my responsibilities, my duties towards the society, it somehow passes on to every employee, and the majority of this happens due to the integrity of the managers or how they see their organizations to work for. Now, the third point that we can make here is helps business managers to resolve ethical dilemmas. Now, before I get into explaining this particular point, I would like to say, or I would like to explain what is an ethical dilemma. We all are working professionals. We all work for one particular institution or an organization, and at different levels of work, we face different challenges. We come up with different tricky situations where our inner heart wants to say something and do something, and the outer world that we are into kind of forces us to do otherwise. If we are here to help certain employee whom we know is in a bad situation, sometimes due to peer pressure we cannot move forward and go and help him or help her. The reason? Because the pressure around us do not allow us to go there and reach out to them and help them out at different situations. Now, this is something what I call is an ethical dilemma. Sometimes, I'll just put an example here. I work for company X. I have a subordinate of mine working within that same organization who is extremely friendly, loyal, and a truthful person. Since I since I know him for a very long time, I can vouch for his truthfulness. At the same time, I have a manager or a boss whom I am answerable to. Now, the subordinate of mine, since he lives in the same area where I reside, I know him personally as a human being, and I know that this man is going through a hard time in life, and his life is actually not easy like others. He is the only earning member in the family, and if he loses the job, then the whole family is destroyed. I know that personally. Though that information is never going to harm the kind of work that I do for the organization, but again I know because he lives in the same locality. Now, this person commits a crime within that organization, within that institution. This person commits a crime. Let us not get into the debate that whether the crime was deliberate or it was unintentional. Now, he has done something. As far as I know this person can never go ethically wrong. So, whatever crime he has done we are taking that it was just a mistake. It was just a mistake, an accident that happened. Now, my manager or my leader is kind of putting pressure on me that why don't you fire this ex employee out of the office? He has done a crime, he is a criminal, so it is our duty to kind of fire him out. Now, the situation that I am in right now is exactly what is called ethical dilemma. As a human, I know this person is not in a very good state and I know he is a good human being. So, whatever has happened out of a mistake. But as an employee, as a loyal employee to the organization who is giving me my bread and butter, my daily bread and butter, it is my duty to follow what they say and fire him. This situation that I am in is a classic example of an ethical dilemma, that what should I do? Should I follow my manager or should I follow my heart and let this person go? So, in such situations, the understanding and the knowledge of values and ethics helps managers to make wiser decisions. They are able to take the right decision at the right time, that sometimes can go in favor of the employee, but most of the times it goes in favor of the organization that he or she is working with. So, the knowledge, if the person has, can help him solve tricky situations and conditions, and that is the understanding of values and ethics, which would help a manager or a team leader to take wiser decisions. And the last point here that we should make is sets a favorable ethical climate. As I was talking about it before, every organization has got certain rules attached to their name tag. Be that good or bad, that is a matter of debate, but every organization has its own rules. Certain organizations in this world are very well known for the kind of ethical climate they have made, and certain organizations are not so good when it comes to play the role of ethics and values. If the main leaders of an organization, whom we call the management, if they understand and has a good knowledge about values and ethics themselves, then they can help other people understand the importance of values and ethics and how they can work towards improving the natural climate of the organization. It is up to their own knowledge, it is up to their own I would say understanding, it is up to their own way of delivering that will help the whole of the organization to set an example in the market for delivering better values and ethics within the company. Now, if we move on, we shall here come to an understanding of the reasons behind ethical and unethical conducts. There are certain reasons for it, why some people appear to be very ethical, why certain people appear to be unethical. There are certain reasons for it, there are certain accepted norms for it. Let us now discuss one by one why certain things can be called ethical, what are the influences that makes it ethical or unethical. Now, among this, I would want to break this into two categories. The first would be cultural influences and the number 2 would be organizational influences. Among the first header, the most important aspect that comes in would be family. As I always say, that the basic understanding and the learning of values and ethics happens within the family. It is the first teaching or the first learning that your parents teach you. It is the first thing that your mom tells you when you were about to take your first step towards your school in your life. Your mom must have always told you, beta, never to fight with your friends. Beta, always respect your teachers. Please be attentive in class. Please do not quarrel. Please share your tiffin with your friends. These are exactly what we call values and ethics in life. So, as I always say, that the basic learning of values and ethics always begins at home. And among the cultural influences that is the most important, family comes number 1. Your family gives you the basic understanding of what should be done and what should not be done. The second is definitely, as I was telling you, that your mother or your father must have told you what to do and what not to do at school. When you are in school, they must have advised you the things to be done and things to be avoided. So, the second influence under this cultural influence would be your education. If you are qualified, if you are literate, probably you have your own sense to understand what is good and what is bad for you. The third would be religion. Now, this is something which plays a major role. We cannot ignore the importance of religion in human lives. Every one of us are somehow influenced by religion. No religion can be bad. Every religion has got its own ideas and influences, customs, rituals, traditions. Every religion has their own set of rules and rule books, and we all follow that. So, even if we do not want, we are somehow highly influenced by the religion that we follow. Every religion has their own customs which you are supposed to follow. Being a part of society, you cannot ignore, sometimes from your will, sometimes not from your will, but we all follow it. And the influence of a religion into the development of a child's character plays definitely a major role. The next point would be, as we always say, that the media and the entertainment business and the industry, they are not so neutral. They kind of provide us with information that are manipulated, whatever that is. Let's not get into the debate if the information provided is manipulated or it is as natural as it can be, but the influence of media and entertainment into our lives has played a major role in shaping our characters, because we somehow believe only what we see on screen. Whatever is shown to us, the way it is portrayed, the way it is projected, we are somehow extremely influenced by that, and the audiovisual aids somehow act into it, and we are made to believe even if it is untrue. So, these are the 4 points under the cultural influences. Now, under organizational influences, similarly there are a few points. First would be ethical codes. If the company follows the rules that are basic, if the company has the basic ethical policy for all its employees. So, that is the first point. The second would be organizational culture. If you are joining a company which has been a name, which has been famous among its other companies, among its competitors, for being ethical, then you after a while would accommodate yourself into that position, and you would also feel happy and proud about yourself, thinking that you are also equally ethical. So what your environment says, we all at times do that. So the environmental influence of a company definitely plays a major role in shaping a person's character. Third would be role models. As we all have role models, somebody follows Swami Vivekananda, somebody follows Mother Teresa. We all have our own role models, and it is extremely important to have role models in life, because that would somehow inspire us and get into the right track and follow somebody who has already done major things in the upliftment of humanity in the world. The fourth one would be perceived pressure. This point needs a little illustration. That is, sometimes we feel like doing certain things in the environment that we are in, but people around us, the peers, they do not let us do that. For example, since all of you are students, as I assume most of you, sometimes you must have lived in hostel rooms, and sometimes there has been times, I am sure, where you really felt the urge of studying one particular subject which you have ignored for such a long time. If you think that no, today I will complete this chapter and I will like finish overnight, so I shall be a little relieved tomorrow, but other friends are all in a party mode that particular night when you decided to study. So when you are studying, somebody else is kind of forcing you not to study, and finally after a trial of 15-20 minutes or half an hour or 1 hour maybe, you give up, saying ki okay fine, in this situation when everybody else is in a party mode, I really don't think I shall be able to carry on with my studying for too long, so let me drop it for the night, I will definitely do it tomorrow. So what happens? I am sure you must have done that the next day, the very next day, but for that night you have not done it. So this peer pressure, pressure from your peers, pressure from people around you have kind of forced you to change your schedule, which can be a major role. And the last point under organizational influences would be reward and punishments. As a child does something good, his or her parents reward him or her with certain things if he has scored very high marks in the examination. Similarly, if a child has done something wrong, then his or her parents must have slapped him or maybe thrashed him or have made like threw him out of the house or whatever. So the tradition of giving rewards and punishments to students, and for that matter everyone, is a long story, is a long history, and we all believe in rewards and punishments. If you accomplish a project well within an organization, your manager would look into your appraisal for the next year. That is kind of a reward, and if you get less than 2 stars out of 5 stars in your appraisal, then probably you are fired the next time. So this tradition of giving rewards or giving punishments comes hand in hand, and this would never stop. It will always continue as a part of job. Thank you for today. Thank you.